What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and it's transfer deadline day. Already passed. I don't know why I'm getting so excited for this. Anyway, so yeah, transfer window is finally closed, and that means we get to talk about Chelsea's transfers for the summer. It was pretty good, not gonna lie. So I'm gonna run through each of these. Some of them not as long as others because, frankly, a lot of these loans that we have going out, they're just youngsters. Who cares? Some of them do matter, though. Now we'll talk about those. But for now, let's talk about all of the transfers that we brought in. Starting with, in my opinion, the most important transfer, not a player, the manager, Antonio Conte. What can I say? After we won the title and then put up the worst title defense in history, and not even in the Champions League this year, there's only one thing that was going to keep all of our star players at this club, and that is bringing in a great manager. We brought in a great manager. You know, if you don't know what he did at the Euros with Italy, most people know at least what he did at Juventus, a few years ago. They know how great he made that team after they were on the brink of becoming just a club. So it's really nice that we brought in such a great manager. It's really nice that we brought in a manager who really wants to succeed, and he's doing so well so far. Like these first 3 games, we've looked so much better. Hazard has looked better. A lot of players that were struggling last year have looked better. It's really, really nice to see that he's got the team playing at such a high level with such a high press. It's fun to watch. It makes it more exciting because now we're putting pressure high up the field, causing the other team to really struggle to hold possession. It's a lot of fun to watch. So, that was the first one. Very good. So on to the players. The first player transfer was Michy Batshuayi from Marseille. And that's a good transfer. I'm looking at our striking options. We've got Costa, who's playing well right now, and at the time he wasn't, but it was still like you felt like he could get back to what he was before. And then, of course, there was also talk he was leaving for Atletico. So bringing in a striker like Michy was a great, great choice because not only can he be that workhorse that just charges around the field trying to win the ball back, he's also strong as well. So he can be sort of that sprinting forward, but also the hold up the play forward, the target man, if you will. So I like the fact that he's got a little bit going for him. He's got some speed, he's got some strength. The only problem he has right now is that he's still a bit young, and you can see that youth and inexperience at times, because there are times whenever he should lay off the ball and instead he's having a shot. So hopefully as he starts to play more, as he starts to get that experience, hopefully that will start to help him grow as a striker to the point where all of a sudden now he is top quality striker, world class. I'm excited to see what he's going to do at Chelsea. He's already got a few goals, so keep an eye on him, see what he's going to do. Next one could be the most important player transfer, I think, in the entire transfer window. Because, frankly, I feel like when we look back, and we look back at Chelsea's season, I feel like we're going to end up challenging for the title. And when we look back, we're going to see a lot of that had to do with N'Golo Kante. Because he's such an anchor in the midfield. It's so funny to watch him play against teams like Burnley or like Watford they're not bad, but they're not all that good. So you're watching them play, and they just cannot get a single attack because every single time they try to break out and go at our defense, counterattack, N'Golo's just like, no, not today. Takes the ball away and starts our counterattack. It just looks so easy for him. It's crazy how much that one player in the midfield changes so much about our play. It gives us a bit of confidence, too. It's quite incredible, and I can't wait to see what else he's going to do for us this season. Next transfer, kind of a non-story. Eduardo from Dynamo Zagreb, third string keeper. You got Courtois, Begovic is okay, and then you got this guy now. I guess because Amelia left. Okay. Not much I can say about that. And then we got the final two, transfers that came in that happened on deadline day. First one has been one that's been talked about for quite a while, and I was really excited when I finally heard that it happened. Marcos Alonso from Fiorentina, left back. We needed a fullback desperately. And from what I hear about Alonso, he's a good fullback. He's quality. I can't wait to see him in action. I feel like it's not going to happen yet because Conte has got this back four set of Dave, Terry, Cahill, and Ivanovic. I feel like we're going to see them for at least a few more games because he's been playing them there. But I can't wait to see what happens when Alonso finally gets integrated into the team. Obviously Dave will probably become the right back with him as left back. Does that mean Ivanovic is now the backup fullback, or is he a backup center back? What's going to happen now? So many different options that you've got that I feel like are good options. Aside from playing Ivanovic at fullback, that's not a good option. But anyway, my personal opinion. It's a good transfer. It will help our defense. It gives us a bit more solidity in the back, which is what I fear the second transfer does not bring us in David Luiz. Putting my own personal feelings aside, I understand this transfer, but with my personal feelings in there, I'm really, really freaking pissed by this because he's not the defender we need. He's maybe under Conte he can become a great defender, but the reason that we were so excited whenever we sold him for $50 million is because he wasn't worth $50 million, and now we brought him back in for I think $35 million. It just doesn't make much sense to me. He's not a solid defender. He's more of I don't even know what to call it. He's just such a scary defender to have in there. He's just I don't even know how to describe it, but frankly, if he is one of our main defenders for this season, I'm going to be watching a lot of these games tensed up. Is the best way for me to put it. Because it's really scary when he gets in there. So maybe he'll be great. Maybe he won't. We'll see. Hopefully Zuma comes back soon because we really, really need him back there. So anyway, those are all the transfers we brought in. Now to the out transfers, which of course a lot of these are just loaning our youth players. So I'm going to go through some of those, talk about the ones that are more important than others. First off, we've got Lewis Baker to Vitesse, which, I feel like he goes to Vitesse every single year. Ake is now at Bournemouth. Hasn't gotten any game time yet. I wish we had loaned him to a club where he would get more game time, a club that doesn't already have a left back set. Honestly, I thought he got plenty of game time at Watford, so I don't know why we didn't loan him back there. But anyway, Jeremy Boga to Granada. He seems like a youth player that I hear a lot about. He's got a lot of potential, so hopefully going to a team, like Granada. I believe they're in the Spanish league. Don't quote me on that. But I feel like he's got some potential to grow and hopefully playing at a team like Granada, not necessarily maybe they're Europa League? I really should have done some more research on this team. Anyway, but hopefully he gets some game time there and he gets a chance to prove what he can do. Callas is now at Fulham, championship side. He needs to prove himself because I feel like he did very well whenever we played him in a few games, I think a few years ago. I remember he played against Liverpool for one game in the Premier League, and he did well for being so young. Well, give him a chance. Fulham, I understand because it's not necessarily, it's a bit of a challenge without overwhelming him because, they got to play in the championship. It's a lot of games. Hopefully he gets a lot of game time in there and proves what he can do as a defender. If you can make it in the championship, you've got a chance to make it in the Premier League. So hopefully he's still growing. I think he may have gotten an injury as well, so chance for him to recover from that. Casey Palmer, another young player. Alex Kiwayama, or Kiwamaya. I'm sorry for butchering his name. Salah, we sold him to Roma. I thought that was a good move. Salah's not going to make it in our team anytime soon. When you look at the wingers we have, we've already got Hazard, we've already got Willian. I don't want to say Pedro. But we've got Moses, we've got Kennedy. I think we just loaned out Quadrado for a long time, so even Quadrado's not making it in the team. That should tell you something because he's a decent player. Abraham loaned to Bristol. Good move for him. He's a young striker who needs a chance to score some goals. It's a good move. Traore loaned out to Ajax. I personally didn't like this decision because you've got Costa and you've got Batshuayi, and that's pretty much it right now. You know, Hazard can play up there if he needs to, but I personally thought it would be better to loan out Loftus-Cheek as a striker and give Traore a chance to prove himself, but instead he loaned out Traore and is giving Loftus-Cheek a chance to prove himself as striker. I don't get that decision, and part of that is because I'm not a fan of Loftus-Cheek because I don't think he works very hard for the team. He only works hard for himself. So that's just a personal opinion of mine, but Ajax is a good team to go to. You know, good. He'll be playing, I think, in the Europa League. I don't think they made it in the Champions League this year. I think they got knocked out in the playoff round. So I think he'll be in the Europa League. So hopefully he gets a chance to play some difficult teams and prove himself there. Pantic, Excelsior, don't know him, loaned out. Izzy Brown, young striker, loaned out to Rotherham. Blackman, keeper, loaned out to Wickham. Alex Davey, young player, loaned out to Crawley. Houghton loaned to Doncaster. Bamford loaned out to Burnley. I personally think we should have sold him by now. He's had his chance to prove himself several times. He's been loaned to, I think this is his third Premier League club now. If he doesn't start scoring at this club, it feels like we've got to let him go. Because I think he's 22 now, and that's just, at that point, you're no longer a youngster. Now you should be a player. Especially if you're a striker, you should be a player at this point. So if he's not, we need to look to sell him somewhere. Remy to Crystal Palace, should have sold him too. Don't know why it's a loan. I guess nobody wants to pay a salary or pay money for him. I don't know, but maybe he'll do well and then come back and sit the bench again. Kennedy to Watford, a player I thought we should have kept. I think I prefer him over Pedro right now. I think he's a much quicker, much stronger player than Pedro is. So I didn't understand why we kept Pedro but not him, why we loaned him to Watford of all places. That's only going to help them. Anyway, Conroy to Aldershot loan, Baxter to Met Police loan, Christian Cuevas to, I don't know how to pronounce that, loan, Quadrado to Juventus on a 3-year loan from what I hear, so bye Quadrado. Clark Salter to Bristol Rovers, Charlie Colkett to Bristol Rovers, so nice to have, Abraham, Clark Salter, and Colkett all at one team in League One. It's nice to have them playing together. Hopefully they get some good time. Paisan got loaned to Fulham today. Actually, I think these last 4 or 5 happened today. But Paisan is one that I feel like he needs to go as well. I'm pretty sure he's like 23 now, 24 or something like that. So he's no longer a youngster. He's a wing who just never really made it through. He looked like he was going to be great when he was back like 18 or 19 a few years ago. But now he's a bit older. He still hasn't improved enough to make it into even mentioning in the first team. So, and then finally, another winger who I feel like needs to go, Christian Atsu, got loaned to Newcastle. And then one that they didn't mention on here for some reason that I know about is probably the best piece of business we did. Djilabadji, we sold him to Sunderland for like $8 million or something like that. That's a good price for somebody like him who we didn't even really need to get in the first place. So overall, I'd say it was a successful transfer window. We got the players in that we needed to. We sold a couple players that need to be gone. We loaned out some of our youngsters that need more game time than they're going to get here. And I assume people are probably going to say this in the comments if I don't say this. So I'm aware that players like Kennedy and Traore that I want to see at the club probably wouldn't get the game time that they need. And that's probably why they got loaned out. But at the same time, if you think about it, if Hazard or Willian get injured right now, you've got Moses, but then your backup is Pedro. And you've loaned out Kennedy, who would be great for a backup. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. Yeah, he's going to get more playing time if he's loaned out to Watford, but you don't have him to utilize at your club. So it's hard to say what's the best option. I understand the choice. I don't like the choice. That's the problem here. But it is good to see some of these youngsters getting a chance to play for Premier League clubs, and I'm getting the feeling that Kennedy will be playing for Watford most every week, because so far they haven't started off very well, so they probably need some help. But it's nice to see some of these youngsters getting playing time at better clubs than some League Two side. It's nice to see some of the players that weren't going to make it, like Djilabadji, like Salah. It's nice to see that they're now being sold to better clubs, or not better clubs, but better clubs for them, where they're actually going to get game time, making a little bit of a profit off of them. So overall, I'm happy with the transfer window. I have a couple problems, like Luis, like not keeping Traore or Kennedy, but it sets up for a good year. We've already got 3 wins out of 3, so it's a good start to the season. A lot of good stuff going our way, and I feel like we're going to be challenging for the title this year. We may not get it, but it's nice to see that we actually are challenging again, not just sort of sitting on our asses while everybody just comes to Stamford Bridge and takes a point away every time, So that's nice to see. It's good transfer window. Hopefully in January we can pick up a couple more players that I assume by the time we get there we'll see some holes, whether it's subs coming off the bench or injuries, stuff like that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this transfer window. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. Who would you have rather seen we get rather than some of the players we did? Who would you have rather seen sold that we didn't sell? And if you guys say Hazard or Costa, I'm gonna find you and have to punch you in the face because you guys are stupid. I'm sorry, but look at the results. That's all I gotta say. So anyway, those are my thoughts on this transfer window. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. International break this weekend, so it's going to be a little bit for the next video, but can't wait for it. Can't wait to see you guys there. Hope you guys enjoy this review. See you at the next one. Peace out.